stories to lift each other, give hope to push us further, and encourage one another. Behind the scenes beauty.
JoyBehar, best known for her hosting gig on The View, and the only remaining original member of the panel, is a mother, a grandmother, a wife, and also an author. Even hosted her own show on HLN. Joy shares with Behind the Scenes Beauty what it was like as a female comedian starting out, as well as why she doesn't enjoy doing the stage anymore. She also shares who is her most memorable View guest. Joy shows that if you want to make it in show business, you have to follow your heart. Okay, so I'm here with another interview with one of my favorite people, the amazing Miss JoyBehar. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you, Derek?
I'm good.
I was commenting on your outfit, so let's go over it. I mean, very coordinated, black rust, and then the sneakers really pull it together. It's genius.
Thank you. I try to be fashionable.
Yeah, well, of course, it's your business.
Exactly. You have to look good so people trust you. And they say, if you look good, then we trust you to make us look good.
That's right.
So anyway, Joy, let's get started. I always love to hear people's story. I always love to hear how they got started. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I grew up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which is now a very fancy neighborhood. But when I was there, the most interesting thing about it was a mozzarella store. And they were tough kids, and now they're all artsy craftsy. I mean, in those days, they were out to get me. Because I would dress like you, and I wore Bermuda shorts. And a lot of the kids in that neighborhood were like wearing weapons for clothing. You know, they'd have a Garrison belt.
Right.
And those, you know, like, they were Elvis Presley fans.
Oh, wow.
And I was really more a James Dean fan. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Right.
They're both dead, actually. Well, everyone's dead at my age. But anyway.
Not even true.
But anyway, that's where I was raised, in a tenement.
Gotcha.
I was on until I was 17 years old, I was on the 5th floor of a walk-up.
Okay. So are you an only child?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you have cousins and stuff that?
Yeah, but no, there were no cousins or anything in the family until I was 7 years old.
Oh, okay.
And then my cousin Valerie was born, and then she took over the stage, and that annoyed me.
Okay, so you always had this innate feeling that you were funny, like you knew from day
That I was
one.
funny?
Yes.
Well, you know things about yourself because you say something. I don't even think I was trying, but people would laugh. But more to the point, my family, I was raised with a big Italian-American family, right? And they were, in those days, desperate for entertainment. People didn't have televisions back then, believe it or not. I mean, my mother finally got a TV, and my aunts would come up and watch it there because we all lived in the same building. And then they would ask me to sing and dance at different events. We'd be at family dinners. Come on, Joy, sing another song. It was like a constant interest in me being entertaining. So you kind of grow up with that, and it stays with you.
Gotcha. But, okay, so you can sing and you can dance?
I used to do all the Shirley Temple numbers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you had a lot of jobs prior to to being famous. You worked at GMA. You were a teacher.
Oh wait, let's go back.
Okay.
When I was 15, I got working papers, and I worked in a 5 and 10.
Okay. So for people that don't know what a 5 and 10 is, what is a 5 and 10?
Oh, do people know Woolworths?
Yes.
You know, Woolworths, where you
gotcha.
go in and you buy things for 5 cents and 10 cents, I guess. But, yeah. It's not the turn of the 20th century that I was born, but it was, it was a long time ago.
Right.
Okay. And then when I was in college, I had a job where I was working at St. Vincent's Hospital, typing up medical reports.
Okay.
So I worked in that department, and I had to listen to what the doctors would say about what they were seeing in the slide. And so I knew who was going to live and who was going to die. I did.
Oh, wow.
It was like I could see the diagnosis. It was a heavy job, and I was a good typist, and I knew English. I'm an English kind of gal, I taught English. After that, I was an English teacher.
Right.
And also, before that, I had a job as a counselor at the Employment Service. So I was trying to help people get jobs.
Right.
Then I was a teacher. And then what else happened to me after that? So I was a teacher, and then when I was in my mid-30s sometime, where I decided I was going to try showbiz. So my girlfriend Jane and I, you'll like this story, my girlfriend Jane and I wrote a sketch about a woman in the neighborhood, an Italian woman who would be giving news. I should say like, former bodyguard Carmine Russo has become a faith healer. There isn't a cripple left in the neighborhood since Carmine has been pronouncing his miraculous words, walk or I'll break both your legs. Okay, like that.
Right.
So I had this whole bit that I did. We called up Saturday Night Live. It was 1975. Called up Saturday Night Live, and I actually got the booker on the phone, and he liked it. And he worked with me to get on Saturday Night Live. I got in front of Lorne Michaels, Gilda Radner, that whole crowd in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
And I auditioned for all of them. And every week I was on the board to get on that show. And then somebody would come in and scratch it.
Gotcha.
And then Gilda wanted to do the bit. And I said, no, it's my bit. I'm not giving it to her.
Right.
So that squelched. And then I said, you know what? Forget about camera. I think I'll be behind the scenes, become a producer. So then I got a job as a receptionist at Good Morning America. Why? Because my ex-husband knew the lighting director. Okay, so then I'm at that job, and then they fire me from that job.
Why did they fire you?
Well, it's a long, boring story about the many firings that I've experienced. I was fired from my teaching jobs, too.
Oh, wow.
Well, one teaching job was in Rhode Island, and the Vietnam War was going on, and I used to tell the kids, don't go. If they come to get you, go to Canada. And they didn't like that. They didn't like that.
Right.
So they fired me from Good Morning America because I wasn't really interested in the job, and they could say it. But I was pretty popular there, and so I had a lot of friends, and we had fun. And then when I left, I got into the white-collar crime by going back to Good Morning America and getting supplies. Staples, I still have some of them. Paper, stuff like that. And I'd go home, and I set up my new career, which would be stand-up comedy.
Okay. So was your then husband supportive of you? Because he was supportive of you.
Yes, he was supportive of me all through the whole thing, except in 1979, I had a near-death experience. I had an ectopic pregnancy, and I almost died from that. So that like changed my head around.
Right.
Like before that, I was straightening my hair. I let my hair go curly.
Right.
For example.
Right.
And I said, screw this. I'm going to go for it.
Right.
So I tried harder, and then I got a divorce, and then I was fired. So I had what you call a trifecta.
Right. Everything just happened in all
at
one
once,
time.
and then I just went into it.
Right. Oh, wow.
But you know what's fun? 6 months after I was fired from Good Morning America, I was a guest on the show.
6 months?
Yeah.
So what? Okay. So how did you end up being a guest on the show?
Well, I won an award in comedy, and you know, they interviewed me. I was back there.
Oh, wow.
But as a guest, yeah.
Wow. So how was it in comedy then? Like, okay, so I've always heard you say this, but it's always worth repeating.
Yeah.
What was the climate like for women comedians at that time?
Well, now you're talking about the 80s. And
which, by the way, I did watch your HBO special. I watched it.
My hair?
Great. Yes, I saw it.
That's my real hair.
I love the curls, though.
I do, too. But, you know, on television, I don't know if I can control that hair on TV.
You know when it would have been a great time to be a woman, I'll tell you right now. Not now. During the time when Rubens was a painter. The fat century. That was the time to be a woman. This is ridiculous now. In those days, 200-300 pounds, the men would kill themselves for you.
The minute I'm off of TV, I'm going back to that. So, the women, it was harder for women. You know, the audiences were waiting for a guy to come up there and talk about how he masturbated all day or something, you know? So, a lot of that going on.
Right.
So now I come up there and women comedians come up there and we talk about, you know, men and our mothers and relationships, and it's a little harder.
Right.
I've been thinking of getting the plastic surgery. The only one that I would actually get, though, because I'm scared of everything. You've had a few things.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah.
I have a whole other me in California.
And her name is Phyllis Diller.
But they kind of got it. I had to be, at Catch a Rising Star, I had to be at least as good as the men. Otherwise, I would have been kicked out of there.
Gotcha. So at that time, did people compare you to Bette Midler? Because I hear you always get this comparison to Bette Midler.
You know, it's funny about Bette Midler because she's been on the show.
Right.
And I said to her, everyone thinks we look alike. And she said, actually, you're cuter.
Aww.
And I said, yeah, but you're more talented. And she said, yeah, but you're funnier. And I said, well, that's true.
Oh.
And that was the end of that conversation.
And that was it.
Wait, here's another good Bette Midler story. So I go on a cruise, the theater cruise, in which I was performing on the boat. I'm there like, 7, 8 days, on stage, off stage. It's the same people on the boat. The last night, I do this other performance, and I overhear a woman say, how could they afford Bette Midler on this show? After they saw me all week.
It was like, what kind of, wow, we came on a very nice cruise. Bette Midler is
We
here.
got Bette Midler. No, you have me. I'm sorry.
No, it was just as good. Who even knew that they had such a star? Okay, so were you ever fearful, or have you always been just gutsy and just went out there and did it? Like, because comedy is hard. Yeah, because comedy is hard.
I was petrified, Derek. I had the runs. I felt nauseous. Oh yeah, I was real every time, which is why I don't like to do it.
Where was your first stand-up comedy?
Well, when I auditioned for stand-up Saturday Night Live, they threw me on a stage at the Improv. I had never been on stage before.
So that was how you had to audition at the Improv.
Yeah, and I was so scared and so nervous that night that I was babbling in the bathroom. I remember I said to my girlfriend, why couldn't I be an astronaut like other women? It doesn't make any sense. That was even before Sally Ride became an astronaut. I was crazed, and it took me about 6 months to get back on stage, and I did very well that night.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you said you don't like to do stand-up anymore. Why don't you like to do stand-up anymore?
Well, besides the anxiety, the atmosphere is a little different now. People tweet about you, they tape your show, they get mad if you say something they don't like.
Right.
And they make that go viral sometimes. I don't need to do it anymore. It's too stressful now. Besides the stress of performing, I got on top of that. These annoying people out there who don't let you live.
Right. Well, I still feel like you get to do it because I always enjoy your jokes on the show every day.
It's been 25 years of trying to be funny on The View.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about you getting on The View. How did that even come about?
Well, so you've spoken to other women who are here now.
Yes.
But none of them who were there then, right?
You are the only original Dandada that I've ever spoken to.
Right.
I've always wanted to do a show with women who have very different views. Be careful what you wish for.
So, I was on the brink of getting a sitcom at that time. So I was in LA. And then I came back to New York, and they said, listen, there's this show. Oh, Barbara saw me perform. That's what happened. I went to a benefit for the very famous old comedian Milton Berle. He was 89 years old.
I remember Milton
And
Berle.
it was a birthday at the Waldorf Astoria. And there were all these people there, like Barbara and Regis, and people, that whole TCM crowd, those old actresses were there. And I'm
Not
there.
the TCM crowd. Okay.
And I'm there with Steve, and I said, what the hell am I going to do here in this thing? He said, just get up there. So then I find out that not only is Milton Berle 89 years old, he has like a 45-year-old wife.
Right.
So I get up there and I do this bit about how men can marry a young woman no matter how hideous they are. I'll do some of the bit for you. Here's the bit. Salman Rushdie, who was a famous writer, years ago, he said something bad against Islam in his book, the Satanic Verses, I think it was, and they put a fatwa on his head. They were going to kill him. He went into hiding for like 10 years or something, and yet he managed to get married a couple of times. It's like I can be in a hotel, he never went out, and yes, he found a wife. Other women cannot find a wife no matter what they do. So that's, anyway, I get up and do that, and apparently Barbara related to that story. And the next thing I know, I'm being called in to audition for The View.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So
so I got the job.
Did you have any idea that it would be what it is today?
No, nobody knew. Barbara was going door to door practically, knocking on doors in the country saying, please keep us on the air.
Right.
To different stations. And then they did, and then it got picked up, and it's been unbelievable.
It has been
Very few
unbelievable.
shows stay. You know what they say in this business? The show must go off.
Yes.
But this show is on.
What do you think is the secret to its longevity?
I think the secret is that a couple of things. Well, one of the things is probably that they don't know what we're going to say next.
Right.
You know, what's going to come out of our mouths, you know, and it's informative, the show, too.
Yes,
It teaches people what's going on, or it informs them about things that they may not be reading about. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, I think that we all have different personalities, and you kind of get hooked into that a little bit. Like, oh, I wonder if Joy meant that, you know. What does she feel about, does she really like Sonny?
Yeah.
You know, like that. Yeah, I do like Sonny.
I like Sonny too. You know what? I want to give you a quick compliment because I think you are like a very irreplaceable part of the show.
Oh, thank you.
You are. If there ever comes a time that you decide you want to leave, there will be a huge hole, and the reason is because there is not anyone that is as smart yet funny because you know your stuff. I hear you. You know about books. You know about education. You know about every region. You are smart and you're funny. So that's like a great combination. And you have lived life experience.
That's true.
And
that part's true.
Yes.
I don't know about the rest of it. But you know,
No.
you do. You have years under your belt.
Yeah. And so
I mean, I was in college when Malcolm X was shot. Today we were talking, we're almost there. We don't have time to talk about Malcolm X. I remember when Martin Luther King was killed, when Robert Kennedy was shot, and John Kennedy. So I know a lot about this country. That's why I'm cynical about it in a way. I'm worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it scares me when you say it because I'm like, well, if she feel that way, oh my God, how should I be feeling?
The only time in this country that was close to this was during the Vietnam War. And then they were killing people on the street. I mean, the National Guard shot college kids at Kent State University. You know, Nixon was trying to destroy the country at that time, and then they were shooting all these leaders. You know, and they were rioting, and it was a really scary time. This is even scarier than that.
Yeah. Do you like the way? Do you miss the show when it was a little bit more fluffy, or you enjoy the meatiness of the show with the politics and everything?
Well, I think I like the meaty topics better, but I like to talk about fluffy stuff too.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
You know, I mean, I could talk about anything.
Right.
The only thing I don't know anything about at all. I mean, I don't know a lot about everything. I sort of know a little bit about everything. But the one thing I know nothing about is sports.
Oh. Well.
Unless there's a scandal.
Right.
Then I can get into it.
So what's your most memorable time here at The View? Like, what's the one time that you'll always cherish and it'll always stick out to you?
Oh, my. Well, I guess in the beginning, it was all new and exciting and interesting, and we were trying to keep the show on the air. I was trying to make my bones, you know. And now I like it. Again, right now.
Right.
Yeah.
The best part of working with Joy Behar is the free stand-up show I get through every commercial. The best stuff Joy says is not appropriate for television.
All right, so hi, I'm Brian, the executive producer. So here's the thing about the importance of hair and makeup on this show. It's mostly important. I'm sure it's important to them. They want to look great. They want to look stylish and all that kind of stuff. For me, Joy's entire mood is based on how good her hair looks. If she feels good about her hair, she's in a great mood. If she feels like she's having a bad hair day, I'm going to have a bad day. So that's the important thing. No matter what, Joy's hair has to be on point.
Best part of working with Joy Behar.
Sex tips.
Definitely sex tips. The funny never stops.
You don't know what's gonna come out of her mouth at any given moment. She is completely unfiltered.
Yes.
She's genuine.
Her lasagna's great. She also never holds a grudge because she doesn't remember stuff.
But I remember everything for her. So all the grudges she doesn't remember, I remember and I remind her.
This is true.
Constantly.
Is there a guest that you just love that just like...
Obama. Oh, Michelle and Barack Obama are my favorite guests of all times.
Oh, wow.
When they came on the show, it was before he was president, and they were the way they were, and I said, these two people are so sane. They're so sane.
Right.
You know, you're used to crazy people in that position.
Right.
And they were not. I just love them.
Gotcha.
I have a picture with them. It's so exciting. I mean, I'm prominently displayed it.
As well you should.
Yeah.
As well you should.
They were my favorites. One time we had a famous actress, a French actress named Catherine Deneuve on. And I had been watching her movies. I like subtitles. I love a subtitle, mainly because I can't hear that well anymore.
Gotcha.
I even have it on English. but she was an actress that I had been grown up with and in France, and now she's in this building.
Oh, wow.
That was exciting for me. She was smoking and was like calling everyone fascist because they told her she couldn't smoke. It's funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So right now you've done something very exciting. You've written a play.
I have written a play. You came to the
I came to it.
I'm so happy you came. That was
Crisis
so nice
in
of you.
Queens.
Yeah.
I was so happy that you allowed me to come.
Oh, don't be silly.
No, seriously.
Why?
Joy, you don't really know. I really secretly fan out over you every day.
Oh.
You probably don't know it, but I really do because I just love your chutzpah.
I have that.
I love that. And that you, as a black man, when you are on the show, even as a white woman, you still take up and you get the nuances that a lot of people and the white community don't understand a lot of times. And so...
sometimes I think it's important for someone who is not in the community to speak up. Just like I'm not Jewish, I'll speak for the Jews, and I'm not black, and I'll speak for African Americans because I think it's important for other people. You know, you can't expect the community to be the only people speaking for themselves.
That's true.
It's important.
That is very important, and a great point.
Yeah.
So tell us about the play. What made you want to write the play?
Well, a few years ago, for whatever reason, I got sacked. Okay, I got the sack, as they say.
Okay.
And I was like, let go of The View. Me and Elizabeth Hasselbeck, both at the same time. And I still to this day don't know why exactly, because I was doing fine. You know, I was the same person I am now. And so I was glad, though. I tell you, I was like, oh, thank you for firing. I always liked being fired, which I have been fired, as I said many times, because you don't want to give up a good paying job. When even in a marriage, I didn't want to leave because, you know, it's like the kid and you don't want to, but when someone pushes you out, I find that it makes you grow if you do the right thing for yourself. And so every time I was fired, I did better. So after that, I decided, well, what do I do now? I have all this time on my hands. So I wrote myself a solo show called Me, My Mouth, and I. And I did that for about a few months because I didn't like being alone on the stage for an hour and a half at a time. It was too much. But I did do that. And I started writing a script. So then I said, I think I'll write a play now. So I started, I can only do any kind of writing with workshops. That's a tip I have for anyone who wants to be a writer or a painter or anything, and you can't move it. Take a class.
And they help you to center it and get it.
And give you a deadline. Every week you have to come up with something. So you're forced.
So, I saw the play, and clearly no one else saw the play really, but those characters in the play it's an Italian-American group. How many of them are people you grew up with? And are some of them based off of personal people that you grew up with?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? There's, you know, the one of them is like my Aunt Rose, who just never censored herself, said whatever came out of her mouth.
Is that the mother? There's a mother in it.
My aunt.
Everybody, oh my God, I loved her.
And then the good friend is based on somebody I work with. I told her the other day it was her. I won't say who it is. She laughed. She thought it was funny. And a few others. I mean, the centerpiece of it is me, about the time in my life when I was thrown out of Good Morning America, got a divorce, and had to reinvent myself. And so I just, in the play, she blames her husband. And I did too, a little bit. Not my husband, I blamed marriage, that I was married and it was keeping me down. You know, and so I got, anyway, it's a long
No, but I love it. I mean, I'm sure people wanted to understand that whole fact. Like when you say marriage kept you down, why did you feel that you felt like having to be concerned about him, kind of a thing? Because if he was supportive.
Yeah, he was, but he and I were going on different tracks.
Gotcha.
He's a college professor, he wanted to live all the way out on Long Island. I'm a dazzling urbanite. I have to be in the Big Apple. So a lot of times when you have geographical differences like that, the marriage doesn't work.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So. I mean, it was a terrible time for me. I mean, I don't want to make light of it.
Right.
It was, getting a divorce is a nightmare.
Right.
I don't recommend it if you can pull it off another way.
Gotcha. But now you have an amazing partner and husband, Steve.
I do.
And
he's a great guy.
Yeah, and y'all were together. I remember when I watched The View, that was the big thing, that you guys had been together for so long.
And I used to call him my spousal equivalent. And I said, let's just get married, finally, because I have there was an incident in my in-laws' family where the woman and her girlfriend, they were gay women, and one of them got very sick, and the other one was not allowed to make any determinations about her health, and she couldn't come into because they were not married. And I was like, I don't want that to happen. If somebody's got to step on the plug, it's got to be, I want to do it.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay, Joy, thank you so much. I have this final question that I ask everybody.
Okay.
What is beautiful to you?
What is beautiful to me? People telling the truth.
Oh,
People telling the truth is beautiful. Your entire look today, which I find simply fabulous.
Thank you. I think you look amazing.
No,
as
but
well.
I mean, let's not go crazy here, but I look okay.
No, boo-boo. You look amazing. You really do.
I appreciate this, and I think you have a talent for this interview.
Yeah.
Although I talked a lot.
No, you did.
I didn't shut up.
No, but that's what I want you to do. People want you to talk. I need you to talk. Nothing is worse than you having to try to pull something out of somebody.
No, I know.
You make my job a whole lot
I've been in that position too, and it's a nightmare.
Because you had the HLN show.
I had that. Oh, that show was fantastic. I wish I could get it back.
Because you had control over everybody that you brought on the show and all that good stuff.
I did. That was the show where Melania Trump came on. It's the only interview she ever gave.
Oh, wow.
She came on the show to sell her tacky jewelry. And in the meantime, I said to her, what's with this birther stuff?
Right.
Well, it is wrong. He doesn't have the birth certificate. I said, well, he was born in Hawaii, and they give a certificate of birth. It's a little different. That means that Bette Midler is not a true American either, because she was born in Hawaii.
Right.
She didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
But what is this with the birth certificate obsession? Did he ask to see yours when you met him?
I needed to put mine anyway, because if you want to become an American citizen, you need to put the birth certificate.
Right.
I have a birth certificate from Slovenia. And do you want to see President Obama birth certificate or not?
I've seen it.
It's not the birth certificate.
Well, it's a certificate of live birth,
right,
which they give. But Melania, if he insists on what he's saying, then no one in Hawaii can ever run for president, because they all get the same live birth certificate.
Well, but they need
Bette
to have...
Midler is finished, for example. Meanwhile, she was a birther. She went along with him. They're two of a kind.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Gotcha. But thank you so much,
You're
Joy.
welcome.
I appreciate you. And is there anything you want people to know? Anything?
No.
No, she good?
I said everything I had to say.
She said everything she got to say.
And I didn't even say fuck once.
Not even once.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you so much for watching. Tune in to our next episode.